Wake up, Billy's. Everybody gotta put the time in. Wake up, Billy's. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WB. Be yourself, see yourself. This is a show by people. Billy's our hope, so to needless reason. Nobody feel left out, it's the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love, respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes. WB. And all the things that will feel happen like I got blue skies. And nothing make people get victimized. That's what we got to unite. Billy's here. Wake up, Billy's. Wake up, Billy's. Another day is here. Wake up, Billy's. Wake up, Billy's. We gotta keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Billy's. Wake up, Billy's. Everybody gotta put the time in. Wake up, Billy's. Wake up, Billy's. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WB. Get up, make every day count. Don't waste it, people. Do your part, play a role, get where you need to. You can tune in for work or in your vehicle. If you got a problem, pick up the phone. Why wait? It's a time calling. It's a show with no matter even if you're at home. Just call in. WB. Wake up, Billy's. Wake up, Billy's. Another day is here. Wake up, Billy's. Wake up, Billy's. We gotta keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Billy's. Wake up, Billy's. Everybody gotta put the time in. Wake up, Billy's. Wake up, Billy's. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WB. Be yourself, see yourself. This is a show, my people. Billy's our hope, so to needless reason. Nobody feel left out, it's the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love, respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes. WB. And all the things that will feel happen like I got blue skies. And nothing that people get victimized. That's why together for better we got to unite. Billy's here. Wake up, Billy's. Wake up, Billy's. Another day is here. Wake up, Billy's. Wake up, Billy's. We gotta keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Billy's. Wake up, Billy's. Everybody gotta put the time in. Wake up, Billy's. Wake up, Billy's. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WB.
Good morning, Belize. It's WUB time. WUB time on a Wednesday morning, the 14th of August, 2024. We hope you're great. I hope your health is great. Your energy level is high, your vibration is positive. And of course, we hope that all is well. You've got your space. You've got some level of flexibility in your morning schedule that you can be very involved, engaged, and also be involved. You can jump in at any point in time when you want to drive this conversation forward. This conversation is called WUB, Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. I'm your host this morning, Mose High. And we want to welcome you to our house. Whether you're listening to Creme Radio, watching XTV, or joined us via our app, social media, we streamed. Yes, we are back. We are back, YouTube style. So please tell somebody that they can get it live on YouTube. For those people who have those smart TVs, right? You can link it and get it all on YouTube. Do subscribe. Make it a business. Make it a priority. Make it your act of solidarity with our process. You might not have to donate any money to it, but you could subscribe. Subscribe to YouTube today. Don't make the morning go without doing it. XTV Belize, all right? Where you can enjoy live streaming of Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. Before we get into the deep end, before we jump into the main event, you know how we work it out. We got your preliminaries. And so we've got a bit of the morning news update to give you. Also, we've got your weather forecast, and that comes from the National Meteorological Service. We've got our forecaster, Shania Young, with this morning's weather forecast.
Moist and unstable conditions prevail, but will get less moist in the next 24 to 48 hours. The 24-hour forecast is for skies to be cloudy at times today, with a few showers and thunderstorms continuing, especially over the south, decreasing later today. High temperatures today will range from 88 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast to 98 inland and 81 over the mountains. Tonight's low temperatures will be 83 degrees Fahrenheit along coastal areas, 74 inland, and 68 in the higher elevations. The winds will blow from the east at 5 to 15 knots, and the sea conditions will be light drop. There will be a low tide at 12:34 this afternoon, followed by a high tide at 7:06 tonight. The sun rose at 5:30 this morning and will set at 6:18 this evening. The moon will rise at 2:02 this afternoon and will set at 1:09 tomorrow morning. In the outlook for Thursday and Thursday night is for mainly fair weather with isolated showers or thunderstorms, except for a few more over the south. In the tropical weather outlook, at 6 a.m. this morning, Tropical Storm Ernesto was located near 19.8 degrees north, 67.2 degrees west, or about 125 miles northwest of San Juan, Puerto Rico, with maximum sustained winds of 70 miles per hour and moving to the northwest at 16 miles per hour. Tropical Storm Ernesto does not pose a threat for Belize. And this concludes this morning's weather report prepared by the National Meteorological Service.
The first private radio in Belize since 1989. Creme FM. The news. Informative, accurate, current information, local, regional, and international news, weather and sports. And now, the news.
And now your morning news. Police in Belmopan are investigating a report of an attack involving foster brothers which occurred over the weekend. According to the preliminary information received, police were called to a residence after 11 p.m. Sunday on Montalvo Avenue in Las Flores, Belmopan, where they met 37-year-old Fallon Santos, who reported that 22-year-old George Gabriel was attacking his adopted brother, 18-year-old Denver Bevins, with a knife. When police arrived, they met Bevins in the shower with a blue towel around his neck. Apart from stab wounds to the neck, he also had cut wounds to the hand, foot, and leg. Bevins was transported to the regional hospital for treatment. There's been no report on the motive behind the attack, but other reports are that Gabriel entered Bevins' bedroom and asked to play a game, then began attacking, him without warning. Wilmer here, under his People's National Party banner, is making an urgent call for redistricting in the wake of the High Court ruling last week, which was not favorable to the Belize peace movement. Justice Nadine Nabi denied the BPM's application for enforcement of the consent order that the BPM and the government, via the chairman of the Elections and Boundaries Commission, had arrived at for Claim 5-5 of 2019. Justice Nabi found that the Commission had complied with the consent order by submitting their recommendations to the National Assembly by the agreed time of July 2023. She told the BPM that they must pursue another case if they want the schedule to the representation of the People's Act to be declared unconstitutional. In making his call for the redistricting to be held prior to the next general elections, Mejia writes, redistricting is not merely a matter of political interest. It is a fundamental issue of unity and equality in our electoral process. The PNP has long supported this critical reform. We now call upon our esteemed partners, including NGOs, unions, civil society groups, churches, and our invaluable diaspora community to join us in this vital cause. Mejia is urging the government to act without delay to ensure that the next general elections abides by the Constitution. Yesterday, another claimant, Paul Morgan, told us that they are exploring their options.
First, let us define what the ruling is and what it is not. I've heard a lot of people saying that, well, because this application was denied, then there will be, the question would be whether or not we'll have redistricting or redivisioning. And I think that that is a misconstrued concept, because the application being denied doesn't negate the consent order. The consent order is already in place, and so the proposals are in front of the National Assembly. The National Assembly will soon have to accept or reject those proposals. So the process goes on. This application is separate. in that we were asking saying to the court that yes, the proposals were presented, but they're not good and proper. They're only good. They're not proper in that the elections and boundaries did not deliver all. There was what we call a material breach. And so the judge, the court did not rule whether or not there was a material breach. The judge ruled that there was compliance, and that should we want to bring the material breach another way, in another case, then we're free to do so. We also know that the way forward, as you asked, perhaps is to appeal this narrow ruling and on a narrower question. The narrow question is the threshold used for the proposals, are those constitutional? And the judge has not ruled on that. So to put it in short, we know that there are lots of other avenues to go. Whether or not we'll go the avenues depends on what happens. If tomorrow, if in the next session of the National Assembly, they reject those proposals or accept them, then we'll have to decide to do what to do after that.
Whether they are prepared to see another application for an injunction to stop a general election is denied, Morgan said, we are asking the wrong question.
Is the Directorate of Belize prepared to go into to conduct an election that is totally unconstitutional? If they say yes, then that is not on us as citizens. That is on the persons who the Elections and Boundaries Commission and the government of Belize to run an unconstitutional election. We, the peace movement, has not lost. The peace movement, in fact, has brought the 5 times, back when we started, the largest constituency was 5 times the smallest. Today, if they adopt this proposal, then it will be only 2.5 times the smallest. But that is not good enough. That is not what we deserve. We deserve more. We expect more. So let us ask the right question. It is not whether we are prepared to take a loss. Is the government prepared to run an unconstitutional election, thereby rendering themselves totally illegitimate? In the first place, the peace movement should have to force the government to abide by the constitution that they swore to uphold and that they're being paid to uphold. We are not being paid for that. They are being paid. That is cheating the people. That is wrong. And the people of Belize need to get up and see what is happening to them.
Prepared to take it all the way, putting money out of their own pockets. However, he calls on all Belizeans to join them in the fight. Dr. Osmond Martinez, who was elected Toledo East Area Representative in a by-election on July 17th, was officially sworn in on Tuesday during a brief ceremony conducted by the Governor General at Government's House in Belmopan. The ceremony was attended by Prime Minister John Bisenio. Martinez, who resigned as CEO in the Ministry of Economic Development to run in the division, is now being named the Minister of State for Foreign Trade. After his swearing in, he spoke of the work ahead, both under the portfolio and in his division.
In order for us to accomplish the pending items on Plan Belize, there is a lot of things that need to be done from the Ministry of Foreign Trade. And
do you feel like you're prepared to take over this portfolio?
Well, I welcome the challenge. Based on the experience that I have gained at the Ministry of Economic Development, I think that I'm well equipped. But at the same time, it's not only about me, it's about a team. And I do believe that Presently, the Ministry of Foreign Trade is under the leadership of the Honorable Francis Fonseca, who has been doing a fantastic job. Plus, he has a team, no? And so it's just about guiding the team, no, and continue to do the work that they have been doing. No?
So you're sworn in 1 year before the election. So in terms of what you'd like to get done in Toledo East, you don't have much time to do that. But what would be the first things that you like to get done there?
Creation of jobs, you know, is very important. When you look at Punta Gordas and the surrounding villages in Toledo East, unemployment is very high, and it has historically, when we look at the historical data from 1981, that's one of the biggest challenges, you know, to create jobs and to even sustain jobs in Toledo East. So that's an important part. And the second one is to increase our human capital. And the only way we will be able to do it is through education. And when we talk about education, we need to be able to diversify our expertise. And at some point, we might need to upskill and reskill the labor force so that there is to mitigate the mismatch on the supply and demand within the labor force that we presently have. No? So those are the things, two things that we want to accomplish, and those are the outcomes: to increase the human capital and to be able to increase the income per capita through sustainable jobs.
As the Moses Shanbawa faction of the opposition United Democratic Party continues to stonewall and ignore the requests of the Tracy Tager Panton group for compliance with the Constitution and for a leadership convention, the latter has formed the Alliance for Democracy. It consists of a group of UDP standard bearers led by Tager Panton. In a press release issued Monday, the Alliance reported that it had submitted a third petition to party chairman Michael Perfit for there to be a national party council meeting. They are seeking the review of the procedure used by the Central Executive Committee to remove standard bearers and to discuss and interpret sections of the party constitution they believe are repeatedly being violated. The Alliance cites the section of the party constitution which provides for 1/4 of the membership of the MPC to summon a meeting. This week, we reported on the expansion ceremony held by RCC BPO in Dangriga, which intends to double the size of its workforce by the end of the year. It currently employs close to 200 people. Catherine Main, speaking at Belize's first investment summit in 2021, spoke about the significant increase in foreign exchange that BPOs in Belize generated in just a few years. She remarked that Belize represents a land of opportunity for investors who wish to go into the BPO sector, as it is a priority industry in Belize. Megan is attached to Equity BPO in Belmopan.
When you look at the statistics in terms of foreign exchange coming into Belize within the BPO industry, in 2019, our inflows were at 49 million Belize dollars. Our inflows last year was $157 million. So in relatively short period of time, look at that increase. That's a 200+ increase. So there is so much opportunity there. Think about the stability in terms of foreign exchange for us at the ending of the day, who continue to be a country that is primarily or more of an importer than an exporter. So these stability components play a key role, and this is why the BPO industry is a priority industry. We also got the great designation in June of this year, where we were ranked #1 in the Nearshore Value Survey, and it really is an industry survey. And why was Belize ranked #1? Really, affordability. So we're a very affordable destination as compared to the Philippines, as compared to, sorry guys, having mic challenges here, as compared to Costa Rica, as compared to Guatemala, Mexico, who is really a significant player in this industry as well. Additionally, our English proficiency, we have that advantage just out the gate. Healthy business environment, healthy investment environment as well. So coming here, being able to set up shop, being able to progress. Additionally, when we look at the geographic proximity to the United States, where the main partners or players are, right? Quick 2-hour plane ride getting down to Belize enables the connections, enables the facilitation, enables the...
According to Maine, 10,000 plus people were employed in the BPO sector as at 2021. That ends our morning news update this morning. We now take a small break. When we come back on the side, we're going to lift conversation, Wake Up Belize style. We'll be right back. You're listening to Creme Radio, you're watching XTV.
First private radio in Belize since 1989. The news. Informative, accurate, current information, local, regional, and international news, weather and sports.
right, welcome back to the WB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. And Mo's Hyde is hosting on this Wednesday morning, 14th of August 2024. And usually we use this first segment to kind of, you know, go through normal things, greet, and then get into some issues. And then we would more likely later on, multiple days of the week, get into some guests and a little bit of traffic, as we call it. We kind of rearrange it a bit to accommodate our guests that we have here this morning to start off our show because of scheduling. This is the only time we could have get her on. And we're going to start off with a very unique topic. We're going to talk about shark attack. And I imagine that this is the shark attack heard around the world because it was viral and there are consequences to this. Belize, we make a lot of money off people who come here to dive, to swim, to snorkel, who want to experience our marine environment. We have one of the finest, richest marine environments on planet Earth, and people want to come here to use it and experience it in multiple different ways. People generally don't come to Belize for swimming pools. They come, the ones who spend the most money, they come here because they want to get out the blue, as we say. But out the blue no belong to we. The guy own people will run it, and the king out there is the shark. And people tend to have very bad, unfavorable feelings towards sharks unless they're in a panadis. And so now we got a shark attack. It got viral, and essentially it's everybody now can point to all those people who said, no, sharks are friends. Which one in the movie they say sharks are friends? So we've been living that sharks are for friends because we very rarely would have a shark attack. But we did. And it happened out somewhere in the vicinity of Half Moon Cay. And I'm joined by conservationists, who has been out at Half Moon Cay. He got hours out there. He got hours in the blue. I'm talking about Roberto Pot. Joins me this morning, a brother and source I trust. And I saw him put something on Facebook. He's the only person that I saw that contributed what I feel a very a knowledgeable opinion on one of the factors that might have led to this issue. Now, we know that there's been Roberto. Good morning and welcome to the show. Actually, you are one of the persons who has actually hosted WV before. So after
right. Thanks so much.
So good having you here, man. So you did go online and you did mention what you feel is something that the elephant in the room that people are not talking about. That might lead to having this kind of behavior. Of course, for most people, they feel that, well, there's nothing out of the ordinary here. A shark sees human, a shark attacks. People generally, some people don't want to swim out there or go near blue because they fear sharks. You know, sharks have been properly vilified, and in our consciousness, we feel like it's just waiting for humans to jump in and seize us as snacks. But it's not really like that. Hard to convince people of that. But if you go in the records of the news to find out how many times we have actually ever reported on a shark attack on anybody, you have maybe, I don't know how many dives you've done, you've scuba. Hundreds, and you've never been attacked.
No, I've been approached.
You've been approached?
Multiple times.
Well, why wouldn't they? It's their turf.
Right,
and
right.
I'm
intruding on their turf.
And I tell people all the time that, I mean, our ego aside, I know they have to try to hurt nobody's ego, we look very strange in the sea. Imagine how we look to marine life, to, you know, sharks and dolphins, this limit thing.
Flapping in the water.
Flapping, awkward.
Right.
We don't exactly look like the best snack. And we probably smell bad too.
And we can't swim away.
So, you know, our ego thinks that we are the best available snack, but, you know, that's not what they're exactly going for. But listen, tell me about your thoughts, which you kind of put out there in the social media space about something that we should be concerned about because of this attack.
I think you characterized it well. Belizeans have a healthy fear of sharks. And I don't want to cast aspersions on the tourism industry, but we've seen in multiple cases where, because tour guides want to get a tip, they will do unconventional and unwise things. My experience is, as far back as 2006, we were trying to get the tour operators out at Blue Hole to stop feeding the sharks. Belize Audubon put up a big sign, and they have changed it multiple times. It got old, and it's big enough where, as you walk onto Half Moon Key, you see Belize Audubon advising the guests and the tour operators that it's not wise to feed sharks. And it's not only sharks. You hear people feeding crocodiles out at San Pedro. We know the snake man when we're around Alton, huh? Get bite multiple times, and yet nobody wants to stop this man from...
He came under a lot of pressure, though.
Right.
The pressure
but
him a lot.
you see a trend where people are doing these ludicrous things. They're even feeding the howler monkeys. And then when the howler monkeys come and get aggressive because you have food in your hand, you wonder why the monkey they go on crazy.
But it's cute. It earns tips.
And it gets tips.
It puts food on the table.
Right. So I don't have the latest information on this particular case. So I can't speak on this case. But logic would tell you that if you are feeding sharks, and worse, if you've been doing it for multiple years, they call it habituate. You get the animal used to a certain movement. Rachel Graham from Mara Alliance out at San Pedro did a study. And as the sharks heard the boats coming into Blue Hole, she set up sensors. She could detect the sharks coming into Blue Hole. They're coming in to feed, like fowl come when you're calling.
Right. So they've been programmed that...
They are programming these sharks.
Engines,
food. Splash.
Food.
And then you hear people in the fishing industry saying, time to kill shark.
Right.
And the data shows that we've been eating out the sharks.
Right.
Because sharks are one of those species that if you fish them hard, much like Nasa grouper, much like some of the other species, you could fish them out, you could kill them out. So killing them out is not the answer. I'm hoping, unfortunately, that this will be the impetus for tourism, fisheries, and some of the co-managers for marine areas
so
come together.
You're opposed even to the feeding of species that are not traditionally aggressive, like the nurse shark feeding that is done, say, in Kikaka?
There have been incidences of injuries because when that nurse shark sucks and pulls your hand in, we've heard of cases where they pull off the skin off the hand.
Really?
And unfortunately, because we are concerned about the impact it will have in the media, I suspect that these cases aren't publicized.
But it makes a lot of money. It's a very popular.
That is the driver.
Very popular.
That is the driver.
I perfectly understand. Like, if you're going to go to Blue Hole, like, why would you be doing this? Are reef sharks and different other species of sharks.
And I get the point you're saying. I want to paint another scenario for you because they feed the tarpon behind Kikaka.
Yes.
We know in the industry and in marine conservation, we make more money if somebody rents a kayak, paddles for half a day, snorkels to find a tarpon. We make more money off that. I think, and I will reveal my bias here, and I have to state my bias here. Especially the cruise ship.
Forgive me, Robert.
Yes.
I need to mention that our telephone number is 2805848. So I don't want to feel like we have one closed circuit conversation here. This is always about opening this line. So the number is open for you. 2805848. Forgive me for not mentioning it. And let me just remind you, we're there on YouTube. Do tell a friend that YouTube is back with XTV Belize. Subscribe, please. Go ahead, Robert.
Yes.
So your bias?
My bias is, or it's been shown by data. They did the studies. We make more money off overnight tourism versus the cruise ship tourism. So we look on the numbers. I can't remember the numbers for cruise ship, but for the million we come through the airport, we make far more money off the overnight tourism.
Yeah. But the overnight, but in fairness though, overnight, when we're talking about say Sharkway Alley, a lot of overnight people will take that tour. A lot of overnight people will go to where the tarpons there on the west side of Akikaka to do that feeding of the tarpons.
I can't call his name, but a politician jumped off the boat in Holchan, and he said the fishing industry is in good shape. My point is, and the studies show, if I see 10 fish or I see 5 fish, you will get the same tip. The studies show that.
Okay. Now let me ask you this, because until I read your posts online, I was thinking I've been somebody who, not based on any, I don't have, I took a course, marine science course at
I didn't know that.
Associate's degree. I took George Myvie taught me at PTC. So
great. Yeah.
So you know I have a little ABC of the thing.
Right.
But I'm not speaking on any level of expertise. My feeling, my intuition over the years has been that, you know, we would check out shark attacks, and it also depends on the species. We know that the great white tends to be a more hostile, and certain sharks are a little bit more aggressive. I know the bull shark tends to be, I don't want to meet a bull shark, and I don't care what any scientists say, I don't want to meet any bull sharks.
Right.
But I've felt that once there is abundant food that sharks prefer, once there is a strong fishing stock and sharks have food available, that they won't have any time to be bothering with humans. I've always felt that one of the things that will, and this is not based on research or anything I've read, it's just something I intuitively suspect, that the more we find a diminishing fish stock, the more what we consider to be the status quo shark behavior, or for that matter marine life behavior, is going to be out there. We see different evidence of strange behavior by certain marine species around the planet because of man, whether the way whales migrate, dolphins. There's a classic thing going on now where orcas are ramming boats and sinking boats in certain areas, like you know, like they're still trying to figure out that behavior, what's going on. Very weird behavior. You can go online and check it out. And so I have felt that eventually we will start having shark attacks because of food depletion. Is it possible that could be a trigger moving forward as well?
It shows that Professor Myvie taught you well. That contributes to the issue that we're facing. And it's not just fish, because, and I'll digress a little bit, even the local consumers in Belize can't access fish. That's what I did my master's study on. We don't have the stock of fish that we had growing up.
Well, I went to some store, Roberto, and saw a snapper, and it was $100. And I was like, Jesus.
Yeah, you can't afford that.
No, sir. Let's take this call. Krem, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. All right. Carla, you need to speak up if you go. Let's try it again. All right. Go ahead, Roberto. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes. No, I was going to say that is one of the issues that we would want to address. We want Belizeans to have access to fish. We can't be exporting fish and then our local consumers, because we pay tax, we should have fish.
Yeah. I think the exporting of fish is something that has to be looked at as a practice whose time has come to be finished with. I am surprised that there's no, that conversation, at least maybe it's taking place in quarters where you are, but it's not a conversation that we are hearing.
Not fast enough. Not fast enough. And anybody, if you go down and you talk to any one of the vendors.
Now we are importing fish from Vietnam for restaurants. Like,
it's ridiculous. So it's ridiculous.
The fish you're getting in your restaurant, I'm afraid to tell you, a lot of it is not done on Belize passport.
That's the reality that we are living. And the vendors down at Vernon Street will tell you that the icebox is waiting on Vernon Street to be shipped to San Pedro. So that means San Pedro don't have enough fish. And they're coming and taking fish from Belize City consumers.
And that
that's
means
who we are competing
that means the
with.
price now starts to go up. Natural.
I cannot buy fish when I go to Vernon Street. I have to make sure I go on a special
And
connection.
it's not as if though that means that our fisher folk are making more money, because the statistics indicate that we have somebody.
They make less than when they sell to us, because the big buyers will say, I am buying in bulk, so you give me a better price.
Right. Now, back to the whole thing about what you feel is so out of this event, we have some big stakeholders in the whole process speak out and say, you know, this creates some negative energy. We know that a significant amount of our money where we make off of tourism comes from these people who come to do the actual dives. We're not talking about snorkelers. Bigger money enough for those who go deeper.
Yes. You know, I don't remember the stats. I remember hearing something that sometimes the diving doesn't even pay as much as the snorkeling, because you have to put a lot, invest a lot in the equipment to go diving.
The
So
entry level into that.
The entry level is much higher.
Yeah. So insofar as say the amount of participants in that side of the industry is not where we would want it to be. In fact, you know,
and so the business model, it's been 10 years that I've been in close contact with the business, so I wouldn't want to speak about the financial sustainability of the business model. But one of the things that I wanted to touch on, though, because it's Jamal Galvez is hosting his cocktails for manatees, and it's ridiculous that they're coming to the Belizean people. And I think it's the Bowen family that's also helping to support Jamal Galvez's work with manatees. Most of the kills of manatees in Buttonwood Bay and up Belize River is related to cruise ship tourism. There's a thing in economics, basic economics, free riders. That means that the benefit half away and we have to pay the price. Then they kill the manatee and now they want we go fix the problem. That is not sustainable. We can't continue to do that. And it's the same thing that we're faced with the sharks. If you ask the fisheries department, their budget is one of the smallest for the whole government. And yet you want them to go out and enforce over the whole territorial sea of Belize. It's not logical, it's not sustainable.
You would still go and do dives out of the afternoon?
Well, again,
I don't like
well, I tell you, honestly, I got paid to work as a marine biologist. I never paid for a dive.
Right. But would you? I'm not speaking about whether you would get up and do.
Okay. You mean from a safety perspective?
From a safety perspective.
Oh yes. Of course, I would be mindful of the behavior of the tour operators. If I smell fish from the boat.
I thought you would say that you would want to do dives where you know that there isn't a practice of the feeding. Of
That's a good question, and that gets deeper into animal behavior. I don't know. I know with terrestrial wildlife, if they get a taste, they will come back for more.
There's no one doing that.
I don't know about sharks, and I heard Miss Kira Foreman, and she's from Mara Alliance as well. She's the daughter of one of the fishers here in Belize City, and she has been working with this for many years, decades. I don't think we've done the research, and I haven't studied it enough to know whether or not that shark needs to be removed. I know that will be done on the terrestrial side. If you have a jaguar that's taking wildlife, it either has to be taken to the zoo or it has to be put down.
Taken out?
Yeah, for another time.
Well, I suggest that you know, I think even if
but Panada's truly small thing for dollar.
Tit for tat, man.
Yeah.
but you know, bad thing make laugh. The reality is that we are fortunate. The visitor didn't succumb to the injuries, but we are often guilty of not responding well and intelligently and thoroughly and promptly when something should trigger an immediate, a thorough response. And so I felt the need when you went online to say, listen, yeah, we need to just register. Like, this is not everyday thing. No, we cannot allow our ignorance to be the what I said, the baseline here. Yes, we're afraid for sharks. Yes, we think of sharks as being the thing that if you go in water, they're going to bite. That is not what the actual data represents. Actually, the data suggests that we are the bigger threat to sharks than sharks are a threat to us.
Yes, but I think also the visitors have to take some responsibility. And I feel very strongly, because when we were trying to enforce the ban on shark feeding, we knew that it was happening, and none of the visitors, you'd have sometimes 30 divers on a boat, and if you ask them, have you seen any shark feeding? All of them were going for the thrill.
Man, you put that on Instagram, you know how much likes you get? You feeding a reef shark in a Belize off the blue hole?
It's a reflection of the society we're living in right now.
Yeah. So why not?
And then we have regrets and
why not?
We're a litigation society. We want to sue
when something bad happens. But these foreigners maybe are coming out of litigation communities, but I don't think that we have created that culture as yet. But the reality is that it's an incident that, because of all the multifaceted consequences, both from the standpoint of people's view of the shark, which we know that conservationists have invested a lot of time to try to make people understand that the role of the shark, and why, even though most of us view it as the boogeyman, the shark is the apex predator, and you need to have the apex predator. You don't have the apex predator, then everything goes out of whack. Trying to unpack that kind of, marine science 101, or for that matter, a bit of just the way how ecosystems work.
That's why I said Belizeans have a healthy fear, and it's not because we are fearful, but it's for their own safety. It's for the safety of the visitors, because maybe you get wet this time, but the next time when somebody jump into the water right after chumming, and the shark rush, because I could tell you a story, or my experience. One of the scarier experience with a shark. I was with Mr. Ramdas down in Placentia, and we were just come up from a dive, and we see dolphins swimming, feeding on tunas. I was a new biologist, green, first year. So I told to Mr. Ramdas, you think I could jump and swim with the dolphins? And he said, yes man, jump in. I was lucky that Carlton Young, known as Patu, Brian Young's, I think, younger brother, he came up and shouted to Mr. Ramdas with some expletive, get that little boy out of the water. Mako shark, they're down there. Mako shark, they're like one mini white. Teeth look just like that. It may come close enough where I could have see the big eye. I could have touch him on the nose with my fin. My heart made a beat.
Well, I hope so.
But it was a reckless move for me to jump when dolphins are feeding, because if dolphins are feeding, likely there's a high likelihood of sharks feeding.
But just as how sharks get a bad rep, dolphins get an exaggerated good guy rep.
Oh yes?
Yeah. Dolphins get a good guy rep. Dolphins are capable of violence.
Hurting people,
So we have this romantic view that the dolphins save you from drowning and all that hogwash. But the reality is that as a species, it appears that violence is associated with higher cerebral functions, because it is a very violent species.
Right.
But the reality is though that you want to sound that we need to, with everything, with all aspects of our collective responses, we want to be guided by data and by our intelligence and by our courage to do that which is intelligent, to respond in that manner that is wise, prudent, and not always based on what is expedient. But we have this call, we take this call and then we have to wrap up.
Sure.
WB, good morning.
Morning.
Yes.
To rescue advice that they should not allow females in the sea among sharks when they are having their cycle.
I've heard that before. I don't know how scientific it is. But I have heard that before. I've heard people say that that is something that you shouldn't do. I've never looked into it to find out whether or not there is anything to suggest that this is, that this provokes the sharks. I mean, obviously, blood is something that they can smell, but I can't speak on a thing that I don't know. I don't know if Roberto.
They can sense blood from miles away.
Yeah.
But I would suspect that that's because the blood has been in the water for a long time and they can and it travels, no?
But it's a thing I could look at. I like your question. I can definitely look at that and see, because then it was I guess you are suggesting that it was a young lady and that's a possibility. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know if, like, for example, if there's any such policy with, these dive groups to say, well, if we're going to dive, you wouldn't do the diving. I can't speak to that, and I would want to be very accurate in responding to that. So I could look around for the response to that, though.
Yeah. But maybe just a quick comment.
Yeah.
Because as a good Belize Sea Scouts, safety should come first. Not play with this thing and wonder if shark will sense the smell. If a shark come for you, you not have any chance to respond. So avoid the behavior. I mean, look out for the safety. And as Chronic said, do it for the love, not do it for the likes.
Yeah. Roberto, I want to thank you very much for coming on and sharing your knowledge and having the courage to maybe recommend things that on the surface might not be popular, like to say we need to reconsider. If I had somebody would know that I make $1 off of giving somebody this thrilling, cute experience of feeding a shark, and that's how I get the extra, you might be unwilling to want to give that up, but you have to consider how damaging it is when we do have an incident like this where you could end up losing the whole, the goose that lays the golden egg. Well,
I probably feel for the operator because his name is associated with that attack.
With the attack?
Yeah.
Well, but he didn't, it's not like he went calling the shot. And another consideration as I look at it, we're talking here about this is in a reserve.
I don't know the details. They said it was between Hat Key and Half Moon Key, and that's a big distance. It might not be in the reserve. Yeah, yeah.
It might not be in the reserve.
I would have to check with the enforcement team. I don't know if there's an investigation going on. So we'd have to wait until those details are shared.
Like, that's the unfortunate thing, right? That this incident happens, you have social media reaction, it ends up in the news, but we are unclear as to what the collective response is. What is the orchestrated response? What, who has called in the emergency response to plan and say, okay, this stands out, we got to look into this. I mean, I could imagine that you have people who have a certain passion about this who will be curious, but I don't know from a standpoint of a sanctioned, an officially sanctioned inquiry into this incident to make sure that we learn our best lessons from it.
I'm optimistic, and I have to give kudos to Billy Leslie, who works with the San Pedro Tour Guide Association. Sometimes he's like wrangling orangutans. I mean, he tries to guide the guys on what's best practices for the industry. But as I said, some people are just out for the tips, and they don't necessarily listen to the wise advice of their leadership. But if you have the tour operators, you have the Belize tourism industry, co-managers, fisheries department, I'm hoping that this is the impetus for them to come together and start it.
I mean, it's like, these problems. And you are absolutely right that the visitors are a part of the problem. Like, for example, there are multiple stories that you can find about visitors to these safaris in South Africa where they forget that these animals are animals and that, you know, you don't play with them.
They are wild animals.
You don't play with them. Like I think you had just a case some months ago where an elephant took care of somebody who wanted to get a picture and got too close. You don't get too close to no elephant. They don't play that. This ain't the circus.
Yep. Yep.
All right, we take this call and we go to break. WB, good morning.
Morning.
Yes, sir.
I try to use a phone and kind of come through the phone book or some check. Listen, I'm not sure what the brother talk about, but I have had a sense out there, I had a couple of guys myself, and there's a time when I was Calabash King, getting a drop by the lesson, when a group came in and the guy said, you know what, sharks out there, man. All the Asian they run to the shed, and all the Americans they run to the soup and jump into the water. There's a thrilling this for these people. I think we have to be careful that we are not ourselves making this bigger than it is. We have one shark attack in what? How many years have we not heard that? We cannot formulate policy based on lowest common denominator. This does not happen much, and people that do this kind of thing, that they're not forced to jump in there, knowing the risk that's involved with that. So I don't think it's much ado about nothing. I really don't think we should make a fuss about this.
Well, I don't know that we are making the fuss. I think a fuss has been made. There has been an impact. The video has been viral, and it has been reported outside of Belize on what took place. Unfortunately, and this is something that is said by people, that we kill 1 million sharks a year and it doesn't make the news, and a shark attacks somebody and it will be global news. So naturally, we get it. But I think because of the bottom line here, that you wouldn't want, because of how much we depend on the monies that come from people who come to dive, you wouldn't want them to, you wouldn't want to ignore something just because, oh, it doesn't happen a lot. I think you have to make sure that we don't have here changing behavior, because animals do change their behavior because of environmental factors, and so we have to be conscious, and I think that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to be proactively conscious. It's not about creating an alarm to tell people don't go to the water. That's not what we are saying here. We are saying here that certain practices, let me just finish off. Certain practices that we do alter behavior. This has been proven. Feeding wild animals out of our hands, for example, giving crocodiles chicken out in San Pedro, it changes their behavior, and they start associating humans with food. You don't want to play the animals, brother. None of them could take care of it.
But all of that is still unsure, you know, Mose. All of that is, but it's not the fact that the sharks. And this attack did not happen there. And you know, find an attack like that there, because those no sharks, and you talk about maybe one sucking somebody's hand, or someone stand up on a stingray and get on his sting. These are things where we can't just say, well, we abandon everything because something might happen. You know, it just, I mean, the chance of it happening is so slim. And if it does, listen, you can't sacrifice good for perfection. Perfection is, I don't know if you're attain that ever.
All right, so Roberto, I mean, what's your response?
Well, we'll wait until the stingray kills somebody before we decide to do something about it. I mean, the famous Steve Irwin gone swimming around with a stingray and he killed him. And he made earn millions of.
That's a hypothetical, but how you argue a hypothetical situation like that?
No, I had to tell you about a real story. I had to tell you about a real story. You know about Steve Irwin?
Crocodile guy.
The crocodile guy, I forget the.
But that happened, I believe?
Oh, because it happened, I believe.
No, because we can't formulate a policy based on these things. We have not a place that shit happens there. That's life. That is life, and you can't just go around with everything else, and you can't protect everything like such.
But you don't want to wait until it happened at Belize, because if it happened at Belize, then it could hurt your industry.
But what do you recommend do? Because Yes, we've done a lot. We are doing a lot so far, and this I want to discredit the efforts of those people out there who try indeed. But there's only so much you can do. When somebody gets in at the water, maybe we don't know the full particulars, and that has been said.
You know, make a show some information to you. You know, people used to go dive blue hole, and nothing never there in the blue hole. And blue hole, the one of the most visited sites in all of Belize. That show you that we got destinations where you don't have to do them things. Hulchan do it because the fishermen they used to, that a tradition where they used to clean the fish and they dump. So they start that up, and now then they continue it. But I tell you, people gone and dive there without the shark. They never need the shark. And the people who want to pay good money know when you do create one false experience. I'm not sure here.
No, getting rid of feeding the sharks as a part of what we are promoting and what we are selling.
You mean even in the sharks?
Well, yeah, he's saying about the nurse shark that practice should stop. I don't know. I've never heard until now about the nurse shark incident. I didn't know anything about that. I've always felt that this is a, manageable thing, right? And it make a lot of money, right? Like if they're close, you don't have to go far if you carry your people in. And like when somebody got a leave small boat and could reach shark, really make our money. And I listen.
Yeah, but you know what
I understand that it does impact the way that these animals interact, and that part of the I don't know. But when it comes to say feeding crocodiles or feeding sharks out the blue, no, that's a different thing for me. I definitely could see a part with the play around with danger with that. Huh?
You spoke of the tarpon, and if they have the tarpon on bias way, you have to never did it come down enough. I don't know what bias was tarpon, was the feeding the tarpon or some other fish, because I'm trying to figure out what the tarpon did, no?
Well, one of the issues with feeding is if you have COVID were hit and nobody know the corn for 2 years, you know the fish not got food for 2 years. So what do you think happened?
Get different. Because now because where they do, a part of the thing we'll do, right? A part of the thing we'll do is that, and this happens with, it's not just about marine animals, like when you change your animal behavior, like if you always feed an animal and that animal start to lose the ability for by own hunt and eat, then now it got what you call skill erosion, right? Just like everybody else. So now they become easy part them just have when they hear engine and a boat, that's a food. And so when the programming really set in, and you come now with your engine and your boat, but this time you don't bring no food because you just want to take and swim, you see a part that become problematic. Like you don't even really have to go on a marine science degree to understand how this becomes a problem.
I
didn't talk about the tarpon. I didn't talk about what we talk about the fact that and even me aware that we feed with sharks out the blue hole and out the half monkey area. So I need me aware that we deal with that. My view.
That's a systematic basis. I mean, is that what I'm saying, that people just go out there and do that?
Yeah, that's what.
Anything that happened.
What?
I think so. You have evidence of that?
That's what.
That video where they show that me for a blue hole.
They show a video with somebody feeding a shark.
Yeah, that blue hole.
But that's not a common occurrence, brother. That's not something that happens as a practice or systematic like that.
It seems like you know more than me, so I will left it like that.
I believe that we all know. The point I ask superiority is that you get all the knowledge you got, and that will show that I think it's damaging. I don't think we should throw that kind of message out there because there's nothing, and people are still going to die, and there's more people that come because they hear sharks are there. They want graceful animals. When you see a shark to swim, Beautiful. You know how much people see shop and nothing has ever happened? One person ran up, we don't know why they maybe I go to the shop, maybe do something happen certain time that we're not supposed to bleed or go and cut. We don't know. And that the fact that seems to suggest that something was out of order.
So this is my question for you then. Yes. Now that we know, make we say we got one case where we know the tour guide, the feed the shark, and somebody get bite off. What we should do with that tour guide?
So you go in hypothetical again. I don't know if you hypothetical situation. I've come with something that happened. Now, this one will happen, tell me what happened there, I argue from that. But when you really tell me that one about my life, you're going to be away.
All right, so you opposed to any kind of assessment of it?
I'm saying that that's what happened. I mean, whatever I do, it's just that the tourists know the risks that involved. You already know for the way they get on there, and that usually happens anyway. When a good tour guide takes out a boat with your tour, he tells them what is recommended and what is not. This happens. They have a system in place, and it works. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
You can't claim it and see when nothing goes right, Jermaine. That's the point I'm trying to make.
I think what we want to do is make sure that we are acting with what we claim to be as being the species of the highest brain power on planet Earth. And we want to make sure that we're aligned with that. And if we can understand something and prevent something and manage the situation in a way that we get the best part without jeopardizing or creating a problem. So for example, I've spoken about tourists who go on these safaris who get injured and who get killed. It's never because of the tours or because they are, as much as these people would give them more tip if they are able to get an Instagram with a lion in the background, they will not promote it, they will not allow them to do it. Now sometimes those tourists still insist to do it, and you can check YouTube to see how that works out for them. But we cannot be collaborators in practices which are not going to promote a best case scenario all along and long term. And it's not that we are declaring that on this show, or do I feel that Roberto is declaring that. I feel what it is we are looking at some things we do which we know for a fact are behavioral, have behavioral impact. And we have to be cautious, we have to be conscious, and we have to be intelligent. I think that's what we are advocating for. This is not a conversation about alarm. Huh?
Well, we haven't figured some good systems. We do all right, man.
All right, my brother, give thanks. I'm out of time. This was not, and it's not a conversation of alarm. And trying to get people to avoid the water. We're still going to go swim. I ain't never been no scuba person. I never been comfortable when I buck no shark in the water, and I will never be. But I have understanding, and I know that, just like how statistically they say the plane is the safest mode of travel, doesn't make me feel any more comfortable on it when I'm on it. So even though I am very aware that, especially in Belize, most of these sharks are not in the business of trying to hunt human beings, and more or less, generally, some might be territorially curious to see where the condo are, but we can tip that behavior. That's very possible. That has happened multiple times. Even in the case of you've mentioned about, we know that this does occur where the howler monkeys have become a little bit more aggressive because when humans come, they've been fed. This is not, you're not making this up. This is not hypothetical, and it's not about alarming. It's about making sure that we act intelligently, and we are guided by best practices, and that we are not...
And good science.
And good science.
There is a gap. We don't know how the animals respond, and so, this is a great opportunity. Dr. Arlene Perez and the Natural Resource Management Department at the University of Belize could easily take this on and evaluate the behavior of animals and humans' interaction with animals. And then we make a sound decision on what's safe for both the humans and what will allow the product, because we are marketing this as a product, but we have to keep it in place. We can't feed the sharks and then not feed them for 2 years and then go back, it has an impact.
Yeah, it's like you're tempted for cheat, right? We know that people come here and are going to be delighted if they can take a scuba and maybe they meet a hammerhead shark, which is something that those who have dived and met a hammerhead shark have experienced. It's an amazing creature to see under there. It's not every day, and there's not a lot of people who scuba who have seen it.
Right.
No, somebody might say, well, I could cheat. If I just dump on a lot of flesh here, sooner or later, everybody will come, and my guests won't able to see.
Right.
What we're saying is that that might not be what you want to do.
Right.
Maybe you want this experience to remain an exclusive luxury item, that when you do meet it in the nature just by chance, that it blows your mind.
Right.
Maybe that's the best way to do it. It's really not about creating alarm. I want to thank you very much for coming by, man.
Always a pleasure.
Enjoy the conversation. We will go to 2 Cents Cam. 4 Point Security is our sponsor. We go to a first break. This is WB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibe. We'll be right back. Morning vibes, Mo's hiding in the house. Very shortly, we have to go back to a break since we've kind of run up on time for the first break. So we're gonna kind of keep this segment kind of short. This is the Wednesday morning edition of Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. It is the 14th of August 2024. Started off the show with a guest, which normally we don't do, but to facilitate some little scheduling to get Roberto in, we had to start it off like that. Our telephone number is 280-5848. Did we tell you that we are live on YouTube? Yes, we are. So check us out, XTV Belize. We have a call. Krem, good morning, WB.
Yes, good morning. Can I be on the air, please?
Yes, you are on the air.
Okay. Well, I just want to talk about this young lady's case, Brown and her husband, when I say at large. You know, I don't know why these kids are doing this stuff. To them, these people are very good people. You understand what I'm saying? Working people, hard working, not interfering in nobody's business, you know, doing their own thing, taking care of the kids and themselves. And these kids here, this is her godmother. Her godmother gave her this vehicle, right? When she was alive. She gave her this vehicle to use, to take her to church, to take her to anywhere she wanted to go. Take her shopping, take her out, because she didn't trust the kids that she raised, you know? So she had her granddaughter that treat her like a real daughter, and she treats her like a real mom. This woman is you know, man, it's really hurtful to have her large looking for her like she's a thief. She's not a thief. These kids were...
I really don't... Sorry, Carla. I really don't know about the story you're...
Yes, her name is Brenda Gabriel. Brenda Johnson Gabriel. She was a popular football player back in the days, you know, and these kids, they just take advantage of her because she adopted them. And when
but what are you...
When she went to the house, she was calling to take her to church. When she got there, they didn't even want to open the door, you know, which was kind of fishy. You know, why wouldn't you open the door and then the grandma, they don't know where the grandma is. When the door get opened, there she was on the ground, dead. They said she broke her neck, fell off the bed, and she was already dead for like 2 days. Come on now, what do you think about that? You know, and then now these people now, they're scared because they're going to get a record. Because these two kids that put her in this situation, they are the criminals. Two of them did crime already. Both the Alma and the Dominican.
All right, but you have to hold on, sister. I can't just.
And then now they want.
Hold on, man. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
Okay.
I can't. I really don't know the story you're talking about, but general rules on the show is that I can't declare anybody as being a criminal. The only place that can...
No, I said they have these people, like they are criminals.
Okay.
You know, the police looking for them, went to the house and like knocked down the door, like they killed somebody, or like that's some kind of terrorist. So about, you know, these are working people.
Okay.
Good people mind their own business and not afraid of people. Those kids that do that, their grandmother wanted to sell the house. The house was supposed to go on sale on Tuesday. She died like a couple days before. Think about it now. Just think about that. So how could she? She was so loving to her godmother. She loved her godmother. She and her husband. No, they're scared because they're going to get a record like them. Because they told them that we can't sleep. So you're not going to rest either. Because they can't see. Why you can't see? What did you do to make you can't sleep? You must do something bad, you know? Because they were stealing their grandma money. They were stealing her jewelry. She can't put down her money nowhere. She was like I don't know what, like an animal in the house. They didn't want her to drink, they had her drinking pipe water. They want her to go in her own kitchen. That everything is for her. But you know, sudden one, she got some money from her husband and her husband's father. And as soon as they hear she get money, that's what happened.
All right.
She jump off the bed and break her neck. Excuse me. Whenever you hear anybody jump off the bed and broke their neck, and she's not sick.
Okay, well.
That's what the police don't do their job, because if it was in America, somebody would have been here. Because that's foul play. That's definitely foul play. You're not going to know your grandma is in the room there and pretend like you're stupid. These kids, somebody needs to go to jail. But the police not doing a good job. I don't know what they're doing, if it's country or whatever, they're taking money from somebody. I don't know what they're doing, but they need to do their job right and stop harassing the wrong person. Because these people don't know nothing about whatever. This vehicle was there, she was using this vehicle. You go to her job, she might lose her job. You go to her job, the vehicle was there every day. She go there. So if there's a question at the job, question around the neighborhood, unless they really hate her really bad. You know what I mean? She didn't steal it. And the family member knows it. Because I understand when they went to the police, the family member, they told them, what do you think? Because you come from Seattle, we are dealing to know them. You know, what kind of police officer then there? They must be sleep with someone else or something. Or they take money. What do they do? Do no job.
All right, Sister.
Jesus.
All right. This is WB Wiggle Belize Morning Vibes. We're going to go to a break and come back.
Let's take a journey through the core functions of the Social Security Board. It all starts with registering
I think I read some comments, some remarks he made. I think it was on Channel 7 News. Welcome back, and we all owe you immense gratitude for representing us. We have a call. Prem, good morning, WB.
Yeah, good morning, good.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, just answering back to the conversation.
Yeah, I don't know, your volume is going and coming. I don't know what's happening.
Hello.
Yeah.
Is it better?
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Just getting back to the convo with Roberto Park.
Okay.
I caught the last 5 minutes, including the caller that came in there. So I run the risk of perhaps touching on issues that Roberto touched on. But I think that one thing that is kind of universally accepted is that shark attacks are quote-unquote rare. The issue that I would touch on is I don't think there's any universal acceptance of what rare is. My own opinion and belief is that shark attacks in Belize are not that rare, one, and two, not every shark attack ends up in injury. And I guess three, not every shark attack in Belize ends up in the media. I believe if people were to kind of just go to the media set, they would realize that some of the incidents, and I think perhaps most of the incidents that have been reported in the media do relate to fishermen. I believe the last couple incidents related to fishermen being injured by sharks. I want to say that the two variables there are really, well, more than two variables, but two main ones are where in the environment you are, one, and what shark species you're likely to encounter. Most people perhaps don't know, or they don't consider that a lot of the sort of interaction with fishers includes fishers that dive. There are dive fishermen generally in Belize, and then there are trap fishermen, and there are line fishermen. Generally the fishers that are exposed and that are set upon by sharks are really fishers that come from the diving subset of it. This is not unexpected in a sense, because much of the diving takes place in a reef environment, including the deeper waters. So when I heard this incident of that young lady being unfortunately injured, and you can look at it severely in the sense that she has lost a limb. It happened on the atoll, and one of the characteristics of the older atolls in Belize, Jornet Lighthouse, and Globus is that deep water, and when I say deep water, it's a couple thousand feet of water, is relatively near to the shallow seas and near the shore, and you will have these predators coming out of the deep ocean at certain times. Although I haven't seen this in any guidelines, I would say that generally when you have a rising tide, and we have what we call a semi-diurnal tide, we have a high tide every 6 hours. Sorry, every 12 hours. There's a change of the tide every 12 hours. Generally what happens is that those predators will come into the shallows. And so I would say that if you're in the water and you're having that kind of interaction, try to be extra wary and observant on the rising tide. When the tide begins to fall, the predators go back out, and they are basically chasing their prey. And I don't think that a lot of fishers will be shooting fish and trailing blood in the water, and so they would be set upon by sharks generally. I also want to say, Morgan, this goes to a point that you made earlier, that it's not just sharks per se. You had referenced situation in Africa where situation with elephants, etc. In Belize, I was observing very recently, just a couple days ago, the feeding of tarpons. I believe it's in Tikaka, and it was inside of Tikaka. And, you know, there's this video where this lady has her hands in there, and this tarpon came up and grabbed it. And I suspect that if she's not injured, then she could be injured. And I don't think that it would be a loss of life situation. But I do know that tourists and American tourists, I think generally, are very litigation conscious. And what went into my mind is that I felt that our tour guides generally need to be careful that they don't want to be sued. And this is obviously not only tarpon and shark, but I think circumstances where there are human, animal, marine animal interactions, you have to be careful generally.
You know that you're here and you did not introduce yourself, but I know your voice. This is George Myritt. You are a marine scientist. You've worked as a public servant at the highest level in fisheries management, marine resource management. So making people know that, you know, you're not just, you're an expert. And I think what I would want to get from you that you're here, I saw the video, and then there were people commenting on it, and it created a stir. You know, as things go now with social media, things become viral and what have you. And you've kind of laid out, you know, pretty well about, you know, the tendency if, you know, those fishers that dive, especially who do the diving for spear guns, trying to catch, say for example, hogfish, which is not a fish that bites line generally. And if they have one of those fishes on their spear and they're coming back up, that's when there's going to be a problem. But I don't know what if you missed that the kind of center of the whole conversation was the concern by Roberto that the practice of feeding sharks, in particular the feeding of sharks out near atolls, the blue hole, that you are going to create a change in behavior and where these sharks are going to associate a boat and humans and splashing and all that with a time to feed. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, most when it comes to tourism, there are two types of circumstances. There's the snorkelers and the snorkeling experience, and then there is the scuba diving experience. Scuba diving and scuba divers generally is an industry that regulates itself, and generally that regulation would include some do's and don'ts while you're in the water. In terms of the snorkeling experience, I think that that end of the industry seems to be less regulated, for want of a better word. I was kind of shocked that people would be feeding sharks, especially out on the outer atolls, because generally, just from the footage that I saw, those are not nurse sharks, and even nurse sharks can get pretty aggressive. So I think that what is needed is one, the powers that be, BTIA, etc., would need to perhaps get together along with industry players, including the Fisheries Department, to basically look at this issue. And I don't know that you need to have kind of hard and fast legislation as much as for the mutual interest of tour guides and the nation, because it's an industry, it has industry impact. I believe that there needs to be this kind of voluntary guidelines should be developed, promulgated, adopted in those circumstances. Personally, I don't think that it's a good practice to allow anybody to be feeding sharks to the point that you may be altering those behaviors. And those are wild animals. They are unpredictable, and you could end up in situations that you did not anticipate. I would say most that one of the situations that I am familiar with is we had a fishery officer way back when that enjoyed spearfishing. And part of the things that happened to him that I had a first-hand experience with is that a nurse shark, a 12-foot nurse shark, had him kind of caged in and in attack mode, and we had to rescue him.
Had him what?
So...
Had him what? I didn't get that. You had him what?
No, had him like he was in the shallow reef, the shallow kind of reef, back reef environment, near on to like at dusk. And as I said, you know, a lot of time the tide changes in the evening, and I believe it was the rising tide 1, and 2, it was kind of getting dark. And so a nurse shark had him kind of cornered and was very, very aggressive. And we had to kind of negotiate and pull the boat close by to get him into the boat.
A nurse shark?
A nurse shark. You know, most people think that nurse sharks are not aggressive, but they are. I am, you know, my view most when I look at those videos of nurse sharks out in Northern Marine Reserve, is I hope, my brother, I hope that no injury takes place. Most of the nurse sharks that I see are kind of, in my view, maybe about 4 or 5 feet that I see in those videos. But nurse sharks do grow large, and they can get aggressive, especially at the time of the day. You know, the feeding behavior is the key for sharks. Generally during the night, one of the issues with sharks is that most people think that, well, they confine the senses of sharks, the predatory senses of sharks, so sight, they will see you and they could go after you, or they will smell and they will go after you. Naturally, there's a third sense that shark has. It also has a highly developed electrical system. It's based on electrical field. And so the feeding behavior of sharks in the night is not necessarily based on blood in the water or sight, obviously. It's based on vibrations. And those vibrations would interact with the electric field that the shark uses to sort out its prey.
And before you go, because I do have to go to break, but before you go, I don't know if you say you didn't get the start of the conversation with Roberto, but one of the things I raised with him, I even referenced the fact that, well, I have a little bit of a background because you taught me marine science at BTC. You know, when I saw, I'm not of the opinion that shark attacks in Belize is something that occurs frequently, and I'm of the opinion that one of the reasons for that is that, you know, unlike some other places in the world, you know, like I am not going to go to get in the water at the beaches in Los Angeles, for example. There's nobody gonna get me in there. It's beautiful, but I don't want to be in the water. And one of the reasons for that is I feel that Belize, traditionally, we've had a good fishing stock, which means that sharks generally are well fed. But that we know that very recently our fishing stock has been under threat and has been going down very quickly. And I have felt that one of the consequences of that, and of course this is I made it known. This is not me talking as if I'm an expert. It's just me intuitively feeling like this is a possibility that with that diminishing fish stock, that what will happen is that the sharks are going to start to become a little bit antsy, you know, harder to find food, and now you have these humans splashing around, and every now and then they bring food. I mean, I might develop a taste for that. Like, that's my thinking, no?
Yeah, interesting moves. Yes, the stocks generally has been going down. Most of the recreant sharks, those that have been associated with attacks, lemon shark, mustard shark, tech shark, those are not protected, but that protection has been fairly recent. And I don't know that the depletion has not affected them. The information that we have, and when I say we, I do some volunteer work with the Belize Federation of Fishers, and we have been associated with the Summit Foundation, which is a kind of foreign driven group of scientists that have found that 80 distinct species that they have assessed in terms of abundance are in major decline and depletion, and those include sharks. So I just want to put that out there first of all. We postulate that the scarcity of fish might make them more aggressive. I will go to the point made by Robert that perhaps our very erudite Dr. Rogers from UB, this might be an area that she could look at, or any other scientists, you know. But I want to make the point, though, that in terms of beach experience, we do know that beaches in Belize, in the sense that the beaches are very, very rare along the mainland coast. And even the Keys, you will get natural beaches, for example, natural sandy beaches that you can wade, that you can walk off the beach into relatively swimmable, friendly water. Northern Amber Whiskey, some people say Santiago, but it's Northern Amber Whiskey. The best beaches, in my view, in Belize are really on Half Key and some of the beaches on Turnett, the eastern side of Turnett. So, to your point that, you know, the attacks on people just wading in and having a swimming experience is rare. Yes, but you have to look at, you know, most people in Belize, to that point, they don't know to sweat with different people from the Keys. So kind of wading in and swimming, that kind of, in a sense, almost restrictive relative to the population. I made the point earlier that the experience of shark attacks relative to fishers takes place in the outer atolls and in the south. The south, within what we call the Barra Platform, south of the Belize City latitude most, the water gets progressively deep, and much of the fishers that the bad fishers, they will exercise caution in the deeper waters for two reasons. One, visibility is down, and the likelihood that you will encounter aggressive sharks is increased. So it's rare, but unless we qualify what rare is, then, you know, then we could have a disposal. Well, it's not so rare with certain subset of people or certain places. There's a geographic specific issue that we could discuss in terms of the rarity or rareness of shark attacks.
All right, well, give thanks, Judge, for calling in. Give thanks for your expert input.
My pleasure. Take care, my brother.
All right, it's 8:32. We got to go to break. We'll be back. This is Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes.
Snackers, chips,
All right, welcome back. Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. Telephone number 280-584. It's Wednesday morning, 14th August 2024. Most High hosting this morning's conversation, and we ended up having a sharp conversation. I wanted to move off and just quickly, I was in the middle of just giving thanks to, but we have a call. Quem, good morning, WB.
Good morning, Mo. I made several complaints to City Council concerning this lot, the corner Sankan Gill Street. And I even called on your show about it. And so far they don't do nothing. Now the snakes, then they come out that day, then they climb over the fence, all in my yard. And somebody from the office me called on a time and said that they have problem with one of the person who own part of the lot because he don't want to cut down the fruit trees. But then what fruit trees they in there? Well, Hammond's tree and some plantain tree. And then people live here and we experience a problem. One of the neighbors tell me that him gone and personally talk to the mayor. So the only next thing we could ask that if the media could come around and take pictures and anything and put it in the newspaper, do something for help with.
Repeat the address.
The address is the corner Sanker Street and Port Loyola. And it is opposite to where the minister has his office.
Okay. So you're saying, so I recall your call. So you're saying that since you called, the lot remains uncut, so it's gotten bushy.
Yeah, right, it higher than the house. You can't see across the street and it's thick. And then you have sometimes people throw their dog and other thing in there will make it in stinker.
Yeah, and I guess the property owner is abroad.
Well, one of the property owners, they're right here. Because one of the council say he willing to pay so much, but he don't want to cut down for him fruit trees, and he don't live there. And then the other one, they said they can't find her. Then they look for we for help we find. So now, because of that, we got problem, because of that 2 lots were surround me now, where they have the trees and they grow up. When my husband was alive, he used to pay $40 every time to make the trim so that the bush not come over for we yard. You see? But then I can't afford to do that. So the people that will own the lot, then they have to clean the lot. You have one plum tree to further down the street. That's near the time to reach a high tension wire. So when that reach that, can be music.
We hope that somebody is hearing who has the mindset to respond and to deal with the matter. Obviously, this is not a unique situation where open lots are left undealt with and then they become a problem to neighbors and people in that proximity. You have called multiple times on this matter, and you deserve to be responded to, and the matter should be one dealt with. So
2 days ago, one of them come in my yard and he come up my step.
What?
It's good that I had somebody here.
What come up your step?
The baby snake from across the bushy lot come out in there for the fence.
What snake they come up your step?
Yes, they come up and a man here and when they work here and so he hold her and he came outside from the street and kill her.
Hold what?
The small snake, the baby snake.
Oh. Well,
so it get more dangerous, sir.
So then after this, then there be mommy and daddy snake and come, no?
Yep, it become more dangerous. Now back of the yard, it look like they sell part of the yard so and bush they grow up again. I call the lady where I think own it, where they rent out the yard so that people have the boat in there, but now I don't understand the yard sell.
All right.
So they really have to do something because they put on lights to brighten up the place. But then with the bush, you can't see. The light not brighten the place. One Friday night, one man with a kill a big snake in a yard right by me there. And he try to kill it, make his dog and eat the snake. And when he look at the snake, he said that the snake just don't eat.
Oh, that it's the Ola, no?
Uh-huh. So, so the council needs to do something about this. They need to do something. And I make several calls. 2 days ago in a call and I tell them, they put me to this one, to the one, to the one. I tell them I call for a permanent station and make everybody know.
Once upon a time, people used to care when you do that, you know. I did find out more and more that people to learn how to deafen themselves to calls. So, so maybe we could do, so maybe we have to do that, show pictures and video and make it get different now.
That's what we have to do. We have to do that and put it in the newspaper and all about.
All right then, sister.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. This is Wake Up Belize morning vibes. I don't want no sneak to walk up my step. I never send for none and I don't got nothing for getting. Not come up my step, so I could perfectly understand why she shouldn't have a problem with a snake the come greet her. They come up the step. So they with that part there. Respect to wildlife. But yeah, unkept open lots. Problem indeed. And there has to be a promptness to sorting it out. Multiple ways you could try to approach it. The telephone number is 280-5848 and let's look at try finish up your couple things that we really want to deal with this morning, but because you know they allow me. But Krem, good morning, WB. Krem, good morning.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes.
My brother.
Yeah.
My brother, I'm not take long this morning, I promise. I definitely promise.
No, man.
You know,
you got time.
Yeah.
But, hold up. You got time, but I now got space for feedback. And I get a lot of feedback from it.
Take it down now. Yeah. Hold on.
Better.
Listen to me.
Yeah.
I just watched the news last night.
Yes, sir.
Last week, my heart was broken. There was a guy from Belize got killed the other day.
Yes.
Mark.
Yes.
Man, I don't think a man could hurt a fly.
Yes.
One of the most humblest black man I knew. Never one day hear a man talk, boy, I'm glad they killed this one, or boy, a man, I'm a humble man. And somebody took his life. Man, when I watched the news last night, two leave away, if you add the age, it can't even make the money age rate. Have never been a productive member of society. Come and take the life of a man like that man, my brother. Man, I woke up this morning and I feel hurt. I feel like the system has failed me, us, Belizeans, because if the man me do the embody something and embody kill the man because you know you do me something, why embody run down now? Man, that me the wrong man, the man tell her lift up your head, and when he lift up your head, the man shut her right in the head. Like I frustrated because I don't catch one market, and I just have to kill you for no reason, but you know, if I'm upset today, I'm not really upset today. I will be upset the day when they get the sentence. Maybe they are telling them they don't find enough evidence, they are free to go. But I'll tell you one thing I know, my brother, and I don't hope for it. I don't wish for it. But there is one justice here that never fails us. This justice is swift, he is extreme, and he comes one way. When you get this justice, you only sentence you to two things with extreme prejudice. You either let people or death. It's called Mr. Street. Because karma is real. And what you do here, my brother, you don't want to pay for that to no heaven or no hell. Trust me, I don't want to pay for nothing I do when I die. I want to pay for that while I could feel, while I could bleed, while I could suffer. I pay for that right there before I go, my brother. So for them people who believe that there is some place else you're going, in a Nintendo they got so much level, but then I run out on level 2.
Well,
we are gone with that.
I don't know, you probably missed I spent my first segment on Monday morning talking about Mark, and as many people have commented that this was a brother with a beautiful soul, a beautiful vibe. And what I remarked was that, because we don't know how we are past, right? We don't know whether or not we want ourselves to be victims of gun violence. We live in a unsafe space. We live in a dangerous space. And anybody when I got a consciousness there, in my view, lost. But let me finish, man. You see this thing with you. I could hold my car and listen to you. You have a problem listening, man. I know one long bench. What I want to say is that maybe you miss is that one of the things about the brother was that, and unfortunately, in the minority, people were served on a counter, got an energy with it, they always got a positive, make a help you out kind of thing. No matter how much people you have to see, like when it's your turn at that store there, that brother make you feel good to spend your money. You never feel good to spend your money, but he make you feel good. So they could take your life, but I guess we are duty bound to make sure that they not take on man's memory, and the memory of him and the qualities that made him a unique human being and a special human being at that. So I'm glad you're calling. Respect. No, you have something else to add, sir?
I know you knew the man, man. My eyes are welling up to hear that you knew the man, and
man from technical college, brother.
It hurt.
Man from BTC, man.
This guy was a positive guy. This guy talked to every bad boy who locked down to why, it feels it hurt one way. That's not my family, but I consider the man a family. I consider the man, I could reach many subjects, and that man I make him feel happy before I left, friends. And they took that man's life for nothing. Anyway, Moses, thanks very much. I gotta go, brother.
All right, give thanks. All right, the telephone number is 280-5848. This is the WB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes, and I've not been able to really get into some of the topics, but we have tomorrow morning. But with the little time I have left before I go to the final break, let me just conclude my thought of celebrating Sean Gill. Sean Gill did not medal. In fact, Sean Gill didn't get past the first heat. And so his moment competing was very brief, approximately 12 seconds. He traveled across the Atlantic Ocean in Paris to compete against athletes from all over the world, most of which were better prepared, better supported, most of them. So why am I saying thank you to Sean? Why do I think that Sean represents the character of a champion? Is it that are we trying to promote losers? Somebody might say, and I beg you, caller, to just allow me to finish this thought. That ultimately, I think of what it takes to, all your life, you've been the fastest guy in your family, in your school, in your neighborhood, in your community, and in your country. From the day Sean knew himself, he knows that he can run, and he can run fast. and he can run faster than the people, the other children that he has met in his class, in his school, in his neighborhood, and in his community. So he has always known that he is blessed with speed. That's given the universe, the creator, that's in him. And he has to reach this point in his career of training, all the hours that we don't know, all the hours where you don't even have a track. Because we found out yesterday that the track is trash. The track, which took so long for us to get, wasn't even installed properly and wasn't maintained or managed. And so the track was never ever really a track. And so we have a track that is trash. But still, Sean stayed the course. Sean Gill, unsupported to the levels that is required for you to be a competitive Olympian, access to training opportunities, the support and the backing not being there, but he stayed the course. Traveled across an ocean, and he is no fool. In track and field, you know your best time. You know you're always trying to improve your best time, but you know your best time, and you know that your best time has not reached where you are even competitive with those who are the top sprinters in the world. So he knew going to Paris that the one thing he was doing was to represent the country, to make sure that when those nations of planet Earth paraded into the Olympics, they would not have to ask, well, where is Belize? At least someone would be there to take our flag, to participate in this tournament of nations. But he also had to know in his mind that he would get out there and run a heat. He knows his best time, he knows the best times of the people he's running against, and he knew that unless something happened magical, miraculously, that he would not be in a position to contend even in his first heat, yet he went. Do you know what that takes? When you know yourself as a fast person, and you as a person have that pride, and you have to accept that you going to participate now in tournament with part, you will be defeated. You have to be able to say, I want to take pride in all the work what I do. This one event, but I know that I don't stand one chance here because my best time doesn't equal these best times, and you run the risk, and no doubt that some of our own, some of our people from here, I've seen some comments on social media. We actually have the nerve, human nature sometimes is cruel, to ridicule. And we have done it in the past. All kind of jokes we have. The Belize sprinter finished yet? It's the day after the race. They were in Ghana, Paris for. He had to know that there would be those knuckleheads who would have such disparaging remarks, such negative remarks, who would ridicule him. He knows that that's what he's going to go and experience, and still he went. And held his head up, and gave it his best. That's a champion. That's a champion who made sure that the 2024 Olympics, he had to be the one to do that, to represent approximately 400,000 of us. And so yes, he did not go past his first heat, yet I say thank you, sir. Thank you. There's more I want to say to that, because that was just the start of where I was going this morning, but time is going to cut me short. We're going to go to a final break and come back and wrap up Wake Up Billy's Morning Vibes for today.
Here's how to be a part of that.
All right, we got to get out. We invite you back tomorrow morning, 6:30 for the Thursday morning edition of Wake Up Billy's Morning Vibes. We are going to close for now. Before we do, we give thanks to Larry G at Creme Radio, at Creme Television, the Globe, Mr. Cliff Lewis in the control room, Ms. Christy Flowers controlling things. We hope you have a great Wednesday. As always, stand strong, stand firm. For now, we're gone!